Welcome back, Mr. Crawford's class, to our part 3 of hierarchy of shapes. So in part 1, we talked about what a hierarchy is and what an attribute or property of a triangle is. And then we also talked about by using those properties, there's different properties: acute, right, obtuse, isosceles, equilateral, and just a triangle in general. And so those different properties are going to help us to be able to rank these, to organize these triangles into in a hierarchy or organization for us to understand them better. So let's look at what a hierarchy could look like. So a hierarchy could look like this: that we can organize what, put all triangles into an organization that we can understand through rank or traits, what each one could be. So let's talk about that for a minute. So we have triangles, and it's the big purple circle. It encompasses all the others. So we know anytime when we place a triangle into the blue area or purple area, it says, it doesn't say the color on here, so I'm going to call it purple. So we're going to say that in the purple area, we just have triangles. It could be any triangle is going to fit into that circle. All right. Any triangle we do know has 3 sides and 3 angles. Any triangle has 3 sides and 3 angles. So we know it can fit into there. But what if it has more traits than just that? What if it has other properties? We got to be able to organize that as well. So we can take our next property that's going to differentiate between just a right triangle or an acute triangle or obtuse triangle would be a triangle that has equal sides. So that would be having an isosceles triangle. So an isosceles triangle is going to have an extra trait that a triangle with 3 sides and 3 angles would have, and that would be that 2 or more sides are of equal length. 2 or more sides of equal length. All right, and that's going to tell us that we're going to have 2 tick marks, or a tick mark for each different side that is of equal length. And so that's going to differentiate us between having a triangle with 3 sides and 3 angles. We make that circle smaller because not all triangles will have 2 sides of equal length. That's why it goes into the green inner circle. All right, so now we're getting into the inner circle. We're not just in the outside circle, we can shrink our circle. So now that's one more property that an isosceles triangle has that a regular triangle would not. Then we can then say, all right, well, we also know we have equilateral triangles. Equilateral triangles are going to go into the most inner circle. All right, equilateral equilateral triangles are going to have a trait that's more traits or properties that are going to make it even a smaller circle. All right, because that smaller circle, if there's more properties, which makes less, there's going to be less triangles that fit all 3 circles. All right, if it doesn't fit an equilateral triangle, if a triangle does not have the properties of an equilateral triangle, it gets bumped out to isosceles. If it still does not have the trait of 2 or more sides of equal length, then it gets bumped out to triangles, because then it's just a triangle with 3 sides and 3 angles, even if it is right, obtuse, or acute type angles. All right. So let's look at an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle is going to have 3 sides and angles that are equal. All right. So now we have three sides and angles that are equal. It's like think of it as like the perfect triangle. It's got all equal sides, equal lengths. It's got equal angles. It's what you would think of a typical triangle to look like. All right. It's the most perfect. It's the most restricted too. So it is on the highest it's on think of it as the highest rank in the hierarchy of triangles or organization of triangles, or you could think of it as the innermost circle. You have to have all of these traits. You have to have three sides and three angles. You have to have two or more sides of equal length, and you have to have three sides and three angles that are equal to get all the way into the innermost circle of equilateral. All right, so think about that for a second. Think of it as like the more properties or traits I can get in a game for my character, the farther I'm going to get into the game. The higher you're going to get in that organization of the game. Now think of like with hierarchy, it's the organization of triangles is what we're looking at. And that means the more properties you have, you take a regular triangle and give it more properties, you're going to keep getting into the innermost circle of this organization. Or we could list it as you start here and work your way up in the organization. All right. And the more properties you have, the further the higher rank you get. Or using circles, you make the circle smaller because less and less triangles will have all of those properties. If you think about it like with all triangles in the world that you could have, the more properties or traits it has, the less there's going to be. So that's why we can think of it this way. Or the more traits you have will make you better, like in a game with that you're trying to get through. The more traits or abilities that character has that you have that you've created, the further along you're going to get in the game because those more traits gets you higher up in the game. All right, so that's one way to think about a hierarchy of triangles: is the more properties you have, the further into the circle you're going to get, going from a triangle to an isosceles triangle to an equilateral triangle. All right. So hopefully this helps you. You're going to give this a try yourself to make a hierarchy of triangles with the triangles that I give you, and you're going to try to rank them in a hierarchy and then send it to me. So hopefully this helps. Please email me if you have any questions, and have a great afternoon.